Driverless taxis and robo-trucks has brought up a lot of questions. Many involve safety and others involve keeping people like drivers employed. Governor Gavin Newsom vetoed a bill late last night that would have banned heavy-duty driverless trucks from operating without a safety driver in California. Some state labor leaders were not happy about it. And joining us to talk all about artificial intelligence and autonomous vehicles is San Jose State University professor Dr. Ahmed Banafa. Thank you for joining us, Professor.
Thank you, Dan.
So this bill that was being proposed essentially pitted organized labor against artificial intelligence. And the governor appears to have chose artificial intelligence in this case. What's your take on this?
Well, the whole thing about, this bill is basically they're afraid that it's going to cut some of their jobs. And definitely a lot of people are going to lose their job because now we don't need the drivers. And the technology is evolving. Now, I understand what the governor is talking about, because if California is not leading in AI, another state will be leading, or another country. So he's trying to be ahead of the curve, saying that whatever regulations we have now, it's going to be enough to make this safe.
Yeah, you bring up jobs because I think that would be the major concern, right? I mean, so many people that are truck drivers, not only in California, but just across the country, and they're essentially being told, you're going to be replaced by robots. At least that's what they're hearing.
Well, that's true, because if you look at the technology that's used in driverless cars in general, whether it is the small one like the Cruise and the Waymo, or the one which is used by the trucks, which is, we're talking about the trucks that 10,001 pounds or more. That's what we are talking about here. The technology used there is really advancing very fast. I just give you an example, Dan, about it. If you talk about the regular driverless car, we are talking about a technology that uses 16 cameras, 21 radars, and 5 technology called LiDAR, which is a laser, technology to create a picture or to create a 3D image for the car to see. Plus, they're using ultrasonic, which is to see the road and to make sure that no obstacles. So the technology is evolving at as a fast speed.
You brought up Cruise. Of course, driverless vehicles have essentially taken over, as some people would say, here in San Francisco. The CEO of Cruise over the last couple of weeks was pretty outspoken about a lot of the things the company has been facing. And then just recently at the TechCrunch Disrupt, he said that San Francisco should be rolling out the red carpet if the city was serious about safety. What do you make of those statements?
Well, he's trying to tell everybody that there are other 12 cities that will welcome this kind of technology. And when we talk about the difficulties and the incidents that happen in San Francisco, we have to understand that it's this technology or this kind of new wave transportation is at the beginning of its evolution. And there is another type which is different from whatever we see in San Francisco. There is no, steering wheel. It's basically, the 5th level of autonomous cars. What we have now is the 4th level. So we say, if you guys gonna give me some kind of a break on this and work with me, I'm gonna take my business somewhere else. And I'm against that. Why? Because I don't want them to go away from San Francisco. The AI born here, I'm talking about the new technology, and we want to keep all the technology here.
Right, and I know in the governor with the veto, the bill we were talking about earlier, he was under the impression that the regulators are going to be able to handle it, and that there's going to be plenty of oversight for being able to have, I guess, autonomous 18-wheelers, so to speak. But there were some safety issues with Cruise that we have documented here at Cron 4. And I mean, even the CPUC, the city attorney here in San Francisco, they've all sort of had an expression of concern about these driverless vehicles. And it actually got Cruise to say, hey, okay, we're going to cut our fleet in half. So, I mean, there are legitimate safety concerns here, right?
I agree. I know it's at the beginning, and what's going on looking at the very complicated systems like this. I mean, driverless cars, whether it's a truck or an SUV or a small car, needs 4 things to function, which is the environmental perception, the behavioral decision makings, and path, planning and the motion control. And all of those four components of this kind of technology involve hardware and software that is very complicated. So we'll get scenarios like what happened in San Francisco where, the car could not recognize what this kind of object in front of it and start acting, in a strange way. And this is a learning curve. And San Francisco is a city with the challenging streets. And this is what happened with it. And hopefully they can fix it.
We have a little bit of time left to kind of squeeze this last one in, and I'd like to get to this, because at the end of the day, Cruise is a company, it is a business, it's trying to operate something, and of course, going to make some profits, because these are robo-taxis, essentially what these Cruise vehicles are. How do you envision that in terms of competing for riders and passengers? Because we already have Uber, we already have Lyft, we already have these taxis all over the city.
It's an upgrade of whatever services. At the same time, it's you're talking about safety at night. You're talking about the technology used there with about 16 cameras. You cannot open the door if a car is coming. And I look at it, that should be the natural next step for transportation. And we're going to have a lot of big events coming to San Francisco. And this is going to be a showcase if people start using, cars like that.
Professor Banafa, San Jose State University, thank you so much for your insight and coming on and talking to us about autonomous vehicles, the wave of the future.